I just suppress it more and more.
Yeah.
I've been doing that since I was 13. I just suppress it. Like, no, that's not good. That's not healthy for you all.
Push it down. I put a lid on it, screw it on real tight. It's good. It's good.
It's good.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Man. I'm Chris. I'm here with Brad. We haven't worked out the best friend thing yet, but we're working through that.
Slowly.
Slowly. Easing into it. But we're here for you. We're here because we want to get a feed into your lives. We wanted to breathe hope and encouragement. We wanted, like we've said, and even as far as the first episode, we want to call you up, not out. So we've got some things that we'd like to share, especially in light of the holidays coming up. But we still want to. I feel like I'm beating it. Am I beating a drum too much by asking for people to give us a review and subscribe and all that? I don't know. I don't want to overdo it. No, yeah.
I don't think so. I thought you were going to say, "Are you beating a dead horse?"
Like,
what are you talking about?
Yeah. Did I say beating a dead drum?
No, but that would have been funny.
Okay. Oh, that would have been funny. I'm just beating a dead drum. Just wait for it. But no, because look, it's the way we get our message out. It's by you all subscribing, commenting, by following, and giving us ratings. If you feel that our message has any value, then we'll take a 3-star.
Yeah.
Well, we're 5
Nothing
stars
below
or
3.
Nothing below 3. If you just want to be ugly, well then email at notyouraverage.man.com and hit us up that way. But
if you're just passing through, pass through. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't need to leave.
If you want to troll us, then go ahead and hit us up on email or slip over to YouTube and then hit us up there. But yeah, but that's the way we get the message out. That's how we build our community, right? We want this to be a place of belonging where you're welcomed here. This was brought up recently because look, we need a place of belonging. No matter what kind of guy you are, what kind of man you are, whether you're a manly man like Brad, or you're more of an artistic kind of guy, more of a quiet guy, more of a real loud guy, right? All of us, no matter how we look, talk, and all that, we belong in the body, right? If we're part of one body, if we're part of one family, we're all children, we belong. And this is one of those places that we want for men to be able to come to and be able, this is a place where I'm welcomed, where Brad and I want you to be here. We do appreciate all interaction. We appreciate the reviews. We have gotten feedback where people haven't given us reviews, but they've given us feedback, which, hey, we'll take it. Give us reviews still about how people just love to hear us, you and I laughing. That's one of their favorite things is that we'll get going and that they find it contagious, which that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
We can't be funny all the time. Well, maybe we can. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, now awkward transition. So last episode we started talking about boundaries. Right, this concept of boundaries and putting those in place. And so I wanted to kind of continue on with that idea, particularly since we're heading into the holiday season. Because I don't know, Brad, I don't know if you hear this or not, but certainly we hear that people will share that as far as a couple, we're pretty good. But then when you start to get in the extended family involved, well, then that's when it starts falling apart.
I've heard a few couples say that. A lot of times when we're talking to couples, it's like it's on the bad side. Like there's so many other things to deal with. They're not like, I don't even care about my in-laws or my parents right now. Like I got to deal with this. But I have heard that before for sure. And with holidays coming up, woof, man, it gets dicey. It can get dicey.
Oh, that's a good term.
Yeah, right.
Well, and there's actually something good about the holidays coming up, and about that. there's actually good things about the holidays and about how this stuff keeps happening, and we keep running into these same problems, which we'll talk about. But first, I wanted to back up a little, if that's cool, and just kind of give a better definition of boundaries, because I think people get that they have a misunderstanding of what boundaries are. A good way of seeing a boundary, it's where you end and somebody else begins. And there's a great book out there. Drs. Cloud and Townsend had written several books on boundaries with marriage, boundaries with kids, boundaries with, they've got a lot of good stuff out there. So it's really good. Reach out, get it. One of the things that the concepts or that the word pictures were that it's kind of like your fence, it's your garden kind of a thing. And you have a fence around it, and your neighbor has a fence around there, and you don't tell your neighbor what to plant in their garden, and they don't tell you what to plant in your garden, right? They can have suggestions. They can say, hey, you know what? I found that this works good in my garden, and all that kind of stuff, all that, but you don't till somebody else's garden. Wow, that feels like that just took was that? Yeah. I might have to edit.
Is it boundaries, or are we talking about affairs?
Yeah, I know. That's which in of itself is a boundary, I guess. Yeah, it's what I forget which it's at the top 10. Don't till someone else's garden. But okay, let me back that up, and I'll try to give a better word picture or better idea. Okay, because look, boundaries are God's ideas. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, well, that doesn't feel loving. It feels like I'm trying to." Boundaries are God's idea. He came up with it. So if you think you would go back all the way back into Genesis and the creation story. So God tells that He's creating land, He's creating water, and He says, "Okay, the water, you go up to here and no more." Right. So that's a boundary. And then we go into the garden. And he puts Adam into the garden, and he says, hey, look, you can eat of all these trees, of all these plants, right? You've got all this available to you. You're free to do all of this stuff, but just not this one. Yeah. Right. So out of all these ones, he just don't do this one. Right. This one's not good for you. This one's not, this is going to cause problems. So it's out of God's love that He's saying, you know what, this is just a bad idea. Stay away from it. So, and even the 10 Commandments, I mentioned that, and first two are, how do we have boundaries with God? Don't have other gods, right? Don't be making these images of that kind of stuff. And then the other 8 are, how do we, have boundaries with other people? Don't take their stuff. Don't sleep with their wives, right? Don't kill them. That's a boundary. It's, but so how to put these in place? So because boundaries are loving, and I guess maybe even to bring it home with you if you're a parent, if your kid wants to play out in a busy street, well, is it really loving for you to say, yeah, sure, go ahead? I mean, there's only so many semi trucks that are driving by at 55 miles an hour. You can play in the busy street. Yeah. It goes to the whole, like, even when you're praying, like almost a whole different subject, but at the same time, like when you're praying and you're like, God, please, or like, give me this, why can't I have this? And it's the same concept. It's like, well, maybe you can't have all that money because it's not good for you, or whatever it is, like it's that father type of concept too. Sure. I mean, it's the loving thing, is God's, because if God just let us run ramshot, if we let our kids just run all over and just gave them everything they want, they would not be pleasant people to be around. No. Talking about it just hit me because we were talking about the other episode, how we just keep offending people. I think I just offended some parents there. What are you talking about? I need to give my child every. No, that's what's wrong right now. Yes, all these kids got everything they wanted, and now, like, it's like, gosh, that's one of the things that's going on right now. See what happens? I know. Yeah, if you don't have these limitations, you don't have these boundaries. Yes. Because it's true. It's a loving thing, and boundaries done well, loving boundaries
Mhm.
are loving things. They promote healthy relationships. People know where to draw the line. Kids know, hey, look, you know what? This is how I'm supposed to act and not act. Boundaries
Mhm.
aren't a line in the sand, where so you don't cross that line.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, now you don't cross this line. it's it's really because here's the real thing that I think people mess up. Boundaries aren't about the other people. Boundaries are
No.
about you.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're about ourselves. They're about what we are doing and not doing, how we're crossing the line, or how we're letting other people in whom we shouldn't be letting in, and how we're letting them affect us, and we shouldn't be letting them affect us. Right. So
Absolutely.
one of the things thanks, man. So one of the things I heard about this is that people need to earn the right to have access to you, right? Certain levels of access. So because you don't just want to let everybody run right over top of you, right? Even your kids and all that, they shouldn't just be able to barge into your bedroom at any time, day or night,
Mm-mm.
run right into the bathroom. If you're in the bathroom, great, right? They shouldn't have free reign. There should be doors and the expectations that they can't get certain access. Even giving them the keys to the car when they're 5 years old. It's just they have not shown a level of responsibility to have that kind of access. Because here's what gets interesting. Because when we let other people get into levels of access when they haven't earned it, right? When they're not shown that they're responsible enough, which people will do,
Mhm.
right? Because, well, this person, they speak into my life and they do these things in my life, but they're not responsible, right? So they don't speak love and life and hope. They speak pain, they speak negative, they speak destruction. So we let them have all this access. So like a level 9 access, but that person only has a level 2 responsibility.
Mm.
Right. So,
That's
and I heard
good.
someone talking about that. And so, because here's the really odd thing, then we'll get mad at that person who we gave level 9 access to
Mhm.
because they're not responsible enough.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you need to become more responsible. You need to step up. You need to, whatever it is, to be able to do these things because you're not, that's a bad boundary. Or that's a lack of a
Mhm.
boundary because now I want you to do something to meet what I've set up versus me setting up something that matches what you do. Is that making sense?
No, I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, I was just thinking how, we homeschool, and we
Mm-hmm.
homeschooled before it was cool. So we've done it like pre-COVID homeschool, everything. And one
Yeah.
of I
Even better.
think this is where I'm relating to what you're saying is because one of the things that we've been asked as homeschoolers, it's like, hey, well, aren't you worried about your kids? Like, aren't you worried about them getting socially interactive with other kids if they go to public school? And we're
Mm-hmm.
like, that's why we are worried about that because we don't
Yes.
want. Yes, we are exactly worried about that. And it's not, now I will say this, like my kids are super outgoing, will make friends with anyone. I was not homeschooled growing up. So when we decided to homeschool, I was like, I don't want my kids to be socially awkward. Right. Like, but I think a lot of that falls on the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because my wife's like super, super outgoing. I'm a little bit more introvert style, but our kids are fine around any group they're around. But that's what we were worried about. We are worried about their interactions at school. Like, yes, we want that. We were worried about some outside influences that they would be around for hours, right? Hours a day. So
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And that does go into exactly what you're saying. Like I protect myself and I want to protect my family from giving someone that should only be level 2 getting them to like level 9 access. Like I want that protection. I don't want will my kids make that mistake at some point? Oh, of course they will. Like that's life. But I want to try to protect that. I don't want to like shield them, like put them in a bubble so they don't know anything. But at the same time, I'm trying to teach them. And I love what you put. Like, why is that level 2 dude have access to level 9? Like he doesn't belong there. Like I love that analogy because I look at all those, I always say like people in my circle, and Lisa knows, like I have this circle, and if someone in my circle gets hurt, not physically hurt, but like hurt, it like really bothers me. Really, really bothers me. Like I want to do something, right? But then I have like another circle, and that other circle, it's like, well, it bothers me, but okay, cool. I love them, but whatever. They're not in the deep circle. Right. And it's like that access thing, right? Like I have friends that are level 2 and 3. Like they're friends. I would consider them friends. I could talk to them, all that, but they don't have level 9 access. Like I don't want them. I don't want to be influenced, right? I want to influence. But also because I want to influence, I need to be careful on who I let have all that access to influence me. Right? Like it's a balancing act. This is tough. Like boundaries are not an easy thing to go around. Like absolutely.
No, absolutely. And I think that's why there's so many books about it, is because it is tough. And I think it's probably one of the more popular questions that I know we get is people asking about boundaries, particularly when it comes to extended family and when it comes to the holidays, because that's where a lot of people are going to spend time with extended family, is because of the holidays, but
it's the classic like Thanksgiving dinner table. And it's like, don't talk about politics. Don't talk, like keep it all very surface level conversation. Like we want to have a nice dinner. Right. I mean, so in our side, like my in-laws and my parents, like my side of the family, we could have those talks. Like all of us are, on the same playing level field like that. But I've been around other families where it's like, don't bring up religion. Don't bring up politics. Like we'll talk about the game and how good the turkey is. Right. That's it. Leave everything else alone.
I know. Yeah. These ticking time bombs. But yeah, so that's really cool. That's good. And I also love the idea of this, or that idea of people getting mad at the other person because they're not stepping up to the responsibility that we're trying to give them. And it's a double-edged sword and stuff like that. But you know what? Let's talk about the holidays, because, and this is look, yes, if you're a married dude, certainly a lot more applicable. But if you're single, there's definitely a lot of things that are needing to know, even if you're planning on being single for a while and not getting married. But first, so let's talk about the holidays. So because the same things tend to happen every Thanksgiving, like you said, these conversations or these things get brought up, or every Christmas or whatever. Like, well, you're not spending time over here, or Uncle Ted keeps getting drunk and then he starts, being saying stuff, and all that kind of things. What's cool about that, because people are, well, what are you talking about? It's cool if it's keeps happening, and if it's somewhat predictable, we can plan for it.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like I need a sound effect that went, ooh. But you're right, because it gives us a chance to plan for them and anticipate in a good way. I think, unfortunately, what we do is we get all anxious, all angsty, and we anticipate in a bad way. Oh, this is going to happen. And then Uncle Jim's he's going to get drunk, and then he's going to start a fight with Aunt Terry, because they're going to talk about politics. And then Cousin Fred, he's going to start talking about what he's hearing on his Reddits and the conspiracy theories, and it's just going to all fall apart. Well, so we have got a lot of angst and a lot of anxiety, and we're like, oh, this is going to be bad. I'm suggesting, because obviously these people don't have level 9 responsibility, and to expect them to have level 9, right? So to expect them to have level 9 responsibility is, it puts it on them and not on you. We're waiting for the world to change. That's one of the beauties of boundaries, is it puts the focus back on what we can do, a little more proactive, a little more, okay, what can I control in the situation? So it might be one of those things where if you normally sleep at that family member's house, right, you go there and so, well, it might be one of those times where you get an Airbnb or you get a hotel room or whatever. So that way it's like, okay, it's 7:00 and it's time for us to cut out.
Yeah. Or I've seen family members like where they just all of a sudden disappear, where it's like, like the whole, like they call it the Irish goodbye, right? Like, I'm sorry, Irish people out there, but the Irish goodbye, right? Like you don't really say bye. You're just kind of there. And then next thing you know, you're gone.
You're out. You're out.
Yeah, exactly. No, I like that idea though. I mean, we've never stayed outside of like our family's homes wherever we go. But yeah, if you're in that, like where you need a reprieve, maybe going upstairs and closing the bedroom door is not going to give you the reprieve that you need. And so it's not even that you don't love your family, but it's like, oh, well, we're making this like a whole vacation. Maybe you could put it that way, right? So you don't hurt any feelings.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're doing this like whole vacation thing. So we want to spend time here. We're going to go stay at the Airbnb or whatever, so we can kind of have that. I don't know. I haven't. Thank God, right? Thank God we have not had to navigate this. Not that we haven't had like, the normal family issues, right? Like what I would say stereotypical family issues, right? Not that we've never had that, but thank God we've never had we're going to Christmas there. You know what? Like I'm done staying there. Like I'm not staying there anymore. Like we're getting a hotel. We could tell them whatever. We want the pool. That's why the kids want to swim in a pool. So we're going to get a hotel. I don't know, but I'm not staying there. Like, thank God. I really do thank God we don't have that issue. But I feel like I hear those stories, where it's like, oh yeah, I don't want to go. I know, like, what'd you say? Uncle Ted drinking again, going crazy. Did you say cussing George or cousin George?
I said cousin.
Okay, I thought you said cussing George. And I'm like, okay, well, you got cussing George here, drunk Ted over there. Like Aunt so-and-so's getting mad at everybody. No one's doing the dishes. Everything's done. Like, yeah. I think I love though, like how you put it in that mindset of, I know this is going to happen. So we're prepared. Like if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be pleasantly surprised, but I know all these things are going to happen. Let's talk about it on the way there. And then we're just going to deal with it. Like, but I think if you do that, you get into more of a healthy place of dealing with it, other than like a place of like, oh my gosh, I'm sick of this. Like I don't know.
Right. No, you're right. Because it just builds the anxiety. It's just right. Because now we're waiting for the shoe to drop. We're waiting for the bad stuff to happen instead of being prepared for it and all that. Now I'm going to go a little deeper on this, because this is where I'm going to start stepping on some toes. So, okay, guys, men, if this is your parents' house, if this is your parents' thing, right? So when they all of a sudden, because the dishes aren't being washed, and they all of a sudden, maybe your mom makes a comment about how your wife's not helping out with the dishes, and maybe some sort of passive aggressive little dig where like, well, I guess we're already done with the dishes, so your wife doesn't have to help now, or starts making passive aggressive comments about how she's not stepping in and being the parent, or even Oh, well, I guess it's her idea that you all stay at the hotel, or she's making you stay at the hotel, something like that. Do you love my voice? I didn't even try to do
I
that.
do. I know. You're like doing different. It's like listening to the Bible app. Like when you have it read for them. I'm just engrossed. I'm like waiting for the next like voice change. So I'm like, man, that's the mother-in-law. I know it. Or that's the mom. Like, I know it's the mom. Or that's the husband.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the wife, but
well, because even then, okay, all right, then his wife, when I was sitting in the living room and your mom said that comment about me, about, that I expected you to step up and to say something and not just let her talk to me like that. Okay, guys, right, but that's what happens. That's what this stuff happens. And so here's where I'm going to step on toes. Men, step in. Right? Mm-hmm. You got to step in. So here's part of the boundaries. It's your family. Deal with it. Right?
Yeah,
you got to deal with it.
You have more leeway, right? Like it's your side of the family. You have more leeway. And come from a loving, like,
yes,
posture, right? Don't like fire off like, you know what? It's not her idea. It's my idea. And she doesn't want to do the dishes and blah, blah. Don't fire off like that. But come from like a loving side of it. And I mean, I'm sure it would be awkward, but if you come from a loving place, I think people receive that better, right?
Sure.
Not from a passive aggressive place or anything like that, but more of like a conversational place. You don't want to be passive aggressive back, because then it's all these slight comments going back and forth. Nothing's getting solved at all. It's just, it's going to still
right. No one's addressing the real issue.
Yeah. It's just these passing comments and little Johnny's over there laughing about him. Like, ooh, did you hear that one? Ooh, did you hear that one?
Yeah. Cousin Ted is going, ooh.
As he sips another drink.
Look up you probably know this. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And watching the show, I was trying to find the Bible reference, because you know what, I like that you do that, going, hey, I'm going to look this up so I don't mess it up. But it's with Paul, where he says that I can speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but if I have not love, then I'm just obnoxious, right? And repulsive.
It's
right?
a song also. That one song. But does it say I'm obnoxious?
No, that's the Chris paraphrase. That's why I wanted to look it up.
Did you say obnoxious?
I said obnoxious. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Obnoxious or repulsive. But but the Chris paraphrase is
that Bible's coming out. It's slowly in the works.
It's slowly but surely. We're going to piece it together from all the podcast. But it's true, right? If we don't have love, guys, then it doesn't matter how true it is. It's just not going to be received the way you want it to be received. It still might not. You can't, right? That's part of boundaries. You can't control how that other person's going to receive it. And certainly you can't control how they're going to react, but you certainly you own that you can deliver it with love, that you can, so absolutely, and can gauge that. Because look, I loved how you said that. You have more leeway. They're your parents. You grew up with them. They're right. So, and I think all too often, guys choose the course of comfort. Oh, that's just the way they are.
Absolutely.
That's just, you just have to, I've learned how to ignore it. I've learned how to not let it bother me and all that. Okay, well, you've had X amount of years to do that. And that's not necessarily healthy, right?
Yeah.
So
I just suppress it more and more.
Yeah.
I've been doing that since I was 13. I just suppress it. No, that's not good. That's not healthy for you.
Push it down. I put a lid on it, screw it on real tight. It's good. It's good.
It's good.
But no, because that's what we're doing. We're choosing comfort. Let's just all just get along. Let's just all just no. That's how they are. They're old. They won't change. No, that's not true either. You're allowing them. What you're doing is you're taking sides. You're either taking your own side that, hey, I want to be comfortable. I don't want to have to get uncomfortable. So I'm just can everybody just get along, right? Kind of a thing. Or unfortunately, it usually seems like you're taking the parent side, because you'll expect for your wife to make the changes and adjustments to accommodate your comfort and your parents' behavior. Well, honey, you know what? You just gotta let it not bother you. You just gotta let it not to just, it's only for a little time, and you just bear with it and just deal with that. And you suffer what I'm not willing to suffer. You just ride that through, so that way I don't have to say something, because I want everybody to love me and no one to be upset with me. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that probably got offensive.
Well, and I was just thinking while you're talking, well, it's so true. But while you were talking, it's like, as a husband, all right, you don't want to like hurt your parents, right, and you don't want to hurt your wife. But when it comes down to it, like, you're going home with your wife. Like that's your family, right? Like, that's who you're spending the rest of your life with, and not saying like this isn't free reign time. Like, let's target the parents and like all this stuff. That's not what I'm saying at all. But like, if you're sitting there and you're like, I'm just not going to make a decision, we're just going to ride this out, you're going home with your wife. Like, right. It's a lose-lose, really, Oh yeah. It really is a lose-lose. Like, there's nothing done. And then you're telling your wife to basically stop it, like, chill out, stop. And now that's not going to be good for you. Like, right. As soon as you get in the car and drive away, like that's not going to be a good time at all. Like, it's going to be a bad time for you. So I would say, like, I think it's super hard to navigate. So we're not even saying it's easy, but it's almost like this. Like, so when we talk to couples, when we're getting to coach couples and do all that stuff one-on-one, one of the things we really talk about is like, hey, before you're mad, sit down and talk about what you need to go through when you do get mad. Like, it's almost like planning, like, hey, we're not going to say this. We're not going to do these things. Like, it's all these healthy talks before you're angry, right? Because then when you get angry, you'll revert back to that. Well, when we talked last, we said we weren't going to do this. We're not going to handle it this way. Like, that might be a healthy thing to do on the parent's side, right? Or your wife's parents, or whoever it is, where it's like, I need to talk to my parents and just let them know, like, hey, we're not mad at each other. There's nothing going on, but I just want you to know, like, I will lovingly, I'm going to step up for my wife if she's feeling not wanted or whatever it is, right? But that's the side. And I would venture to say that parents would understand that at some point, because guess what? They're married. And so I think to put them in that situation, I would think one or the other would want their spouse to step up for them, right? To help them. Yeah.
No, absolutely. They should. If they're, well, because unfortunately we hear this from people who are from believing families, and for this reason, a man shall leave his mother and father, and the two of them shall become one flesh. Right? It's still honoring them, but you don't have to obey them. And it's new territory for a lot of people. It's new territory for your parents. But one of the things, and I like that idea, even like talking to your parents ahead of time, because you know if this happens. Hey, look, I'm Team Jamie all day long, right? Yeah. So if you don't be even calling me up to badmouth my wife. That's my wife. I'm the wrong audience for that. And so certainly don't be bad mouthing my wife in front of me, to me, or to her. if you want to talk, if there's something constructive, even if you have unsolicited advice about how you parented when we were young and how that might be useful for us, that's, then we can accept that, as long as you're not being critical, right? But guys, you can't sit there and just decide, oh, I didn't hear that. Oh, I was watching the game. Get involved. Be in the game, right? The game that's important to be in is the one that's happening with the family, right? Is the one that's happening with your wife. Like Brad, you said, you're going home with her, right? So so you got to do something. So, so I guess just to kind of bring it home. I like that. Are we, Ben, are you stepping up where it's needed? Right? Are you crossing into an area that should have had a boundary? So there are those times where are we stepping into, because sometimes we flip on the other side. Like I'm taking on, as any talk, if you listen to episode 3, part of my challenge was I would step into my wife's feelings, her responses, and I would take those on, which I'm not created to do. And so being a mere mortal, it was a crushing weight. So I'm not supposed to take on other people's responses. I'm not supposed to get in the way of their decisions, right? That's not loving. That's why we don't give our kids candy every time at the store, or they're going to throw a fit. So that's a different episode. If you're a single man, right? All right, let's not leave you all out. Are you keeping sexual purity in mind of the women that you're dating? Right? Are you creating a boundary there? Are you protecting that? Because here's Brad, you mentioned this. Are you protecting your wife? Are you protecting the people around you? Are you protecting your family? And here's sometimes the stinger. Are you protecting them even from you? Right? Because sometimes they need to be protected from you. And so, because Jesus did not lay out his life to enable bad behavior.
No. Amen.
Yeah. And so we've got to be guys who are stepping in and stepping up, who are having others' better interest in mind through how we can lead, how we can be proactive, how we can make sure there's boundaries of protection, loving boundaries of loving protection, of making sure that we're guiding people in the right way, not just so that we could be like all the other average guys out there and who aren't doing this and letting this always go by, but so that way we can be better than your average man. We'll talk to you next time. Hope you have great holidays.